Tricia and I are just so excited that everybody's here. If you're just joining us, Tricia and I have known each other for, what was it, like 20 years?
At least.
At least. Worked together a long time, been longtime friends, and I am a big, big, big fan of Tricia's work and her mindset. And when I think about Feng Shui and the importance of your environment and pairing it with mindset, Tricia is one of the main people that comes to my mind of who I love to partner with. And because just her mindset is so beautiful and uplifting, and she's helped so many people with vision boards and coaching, and I'm just so honored that you're here today with me.
Thank you. This is a real treat for me.
Yeah. Well, today, everyone, welcome. My name is Jen Boyd, and my friend Tricia Molloy. We're going to be talking about 5 steps to create a vision board with Feng Shui, and we're going to be having a lot of fun. We're going to be sharing a lot of fun details and really get you inspired to start thinking a little bit more about your space and about your life. Let me see if I can get this thing going now. Okay, so welcome to 2021, right? This is a brand new year. It's a great time to, Tricia, what were we talking about? It's like, you know, a lot of times we set those intentions, we set those goals, and kind of by the middle of February, would you say that people feel like
if you are human, you have probably abandoned your resolutions by now. That's what research shows. So this is a chance to revitalize those resolutions through using a vision board.
Yes, yes, and thinking about your space and Feng Shui, and it all kind of works together, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Sure does. So, you know, it's really fun to start thinking about, what do you want to manifest, right? What do you want to experience? So with that being said, okay, so really
maybe you can put in the chat box what's that #1 goal that you have when you think about creating a vision board to manifest something. What is that? We'd love to hear that.
Yes, absolutely. Or if you've already started a vision board, you know, what's already happening with that. Just to give you a little quick background, a lot of you might already be in my Facebook group or be clients of mine. I'm so glad, or friends. I see a couple friends on here. I'm so glad everybody's here. I've been doing Feng Shui for since 2003, so about 20 years. Worked with hundreds of clients, and through my opportunity to work with so many amazing people, I actually created the Harmony Blueprint, which is a Feng Shui 6-week self-paced program. And this really helps people create a peaceful environment that enhances their prosperity and relationships and well-being. It's all focused on your own intentions and using modern Feng Shui principles. And it's all about really taking Feng Shui and making it be very practical and applicable to today's busy lifestyle. And I was a certified practitioner from the Western School of Feng Shui, and I also studied with Alex Stark. And then my friend Tricia, would you like to share your background?
Well, yeah, I'm an expert on developing a positive mindset to reduce stress, to achieve goals, and to enjoy better balance. I wrote a book called Working with Wisdom, where I share a lot of different strategies like affirmations and visualization and gratitude to stay positive and focused. And I speak at companies like the CDC, Home Depot, and Marriott, do leadership speaking on achieving goals and better balance, and also facilitate vision board workshops. And I do coach. I coach professionals who are craving more success at work and in life. And if you'd like to learn more about what I do and how I might be able to work with you, just go to triciamolloy.com.
Great. And for anybody that's just joining us, I know we've mentioned this, Tricia and I have known each other for about 20 years, longer than that, and have had the chance to work together. And she's by far one of my favorite professionals to team up with.
You know, it's funny, as I was just looking around my office, I see elements that you encouraged me to add to the office to increase prosperity. I changed my desk around so I'd be in a more power position. Just little things that I would never thought of on my own that I still maintain, you know, 20 plus years later.
I love that. Yeah, that's what's so great about the principles. is they're timeless.
They sure are. Mm-hmm.
That's what's so great is, yeah, they can work for forever. So in the next 45 minutes or so, first of all, we're going to have a lot of fun. We have a lot of friendly banter and share some stories, but we're really going to talk about what vision boards are, you know, and how do vision boards work, and really how to create a vision board using the principles of Feng Shui. So I just wanted to, one thought, you might want to get your favorite notebook and your favorite pen and take a couple notes, because we're going to be giving some really great tips.
And is there anything in the chat box yet?
I don't see anything in the chat box, but I'm happy to, I'd love to share, see any questions.
Very good.
So do you want me to talk through this part?
No, I can.
Okay.
So what I often say is a vision board gives you the clarity, the confidence, and the courage to pursue a life that you love. It's a powerful communication tool. It communicates with your subconscious mind, but it also communicates with others so that they can support your success. I often find that when I do these programs for organizations, a lot of times the managers or supervisors, or sometimes the owners of the company, will say, you know, I thought I knew my people, but then once we did this vision board workshop, I find that I know them at a much deeper level now, because I can see what interests them, what motivates them, what's important to them, what they want to accomplish through their boards. And so one particular client said that when I walk around the cubicles and have small talk with my people, I find that I glance at the board, because most of them in this particular organization posted their board on their cubicle wall, and I'll just make a comment of, oh, you know, are you thinking about visiting there? Oh, I was there last, let me tell you a place to go, or oh, you're interested in learning this new skill or developing this new talent or whatever it might be. And so you have this connection with people that you would never have pretty much in any other way. So it really is powerful. And what a vision board does, so I facilitate vision board workshops for the CDC. And the CDC primarily are scientists and doctors. And so I learned pretty quickly that I just couldn't say, you know, trust me, vision boards work, or suggest anything that might be considered a little woo-woo. So I knew that I had to talk about, you know, research and how the brain works. And there's a part of your brain called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. And it's a function of the brain that acts as a spam filter. So the idea is, you know, you have millions of things that are coming through your attention every moment. And if all of that was allowed to come in, we'd all be crazy, or crazier than we are. So the idea is this spam filter helps to keep the things out that are not important to us and pulls in what we say is important to us. And so a good example would be, think about the last time you decided to buy a car and you picked out the make and the model and perhaps the color. What was the next thing that happened? Did you start to see the car everywhere, in the parking lot, on the roads, perhaps even in commercials? Has that happened to you, Jen? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what happened is you programmed your RAS. You said, this is important. And it took that information in. So the same thing happens with a vision board. When you create that board with the images and words and phrases, you program your RAS. You say, this is important to me, and it allows that information to come in. So you're more aware of opportunities and resources that will support you manifesting what's on the board. Simple as that.
Pretty powerful stuff.
It sure is.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Super. Yeah, and just really, I wanted to just mention one more thing when you're thinking about your vision board, but that's what's so powerful about Feng Shui with your environment, because your environment is just like one big vision board.
Yes, that's so true.
You know, and that's why you can really start to shift the quality of your life by shifting what's in your environment.
Beautifully said.
Got it. So let's just talk a little really quickly why Feng Shui. We'll just kind of, it's like your home really does reflect and affect all the areas of your life. And so although Feng Shui sounds kind of like a mystical secret, if you take the words, Feng Shui actually means wind and water. So wind represents your mind, your subconscious thoughts, all the things, like your reticular activating system, all the things that it's bringing in. And then the water represents your physical environment. So as you think, you become. And so it's this powerful metaphor for really just understanding how to shift the energy in your home and in your life. And then the principles of Feng Shui, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, help you really create, it's kind of like a guidance system and kind of like a guidepost for how to arrange your environment to support you. And so we're going to be talking about how to incorporate those pillars into your vision board and into your home. I'm going to talk about this just for a minute, and then I want you to kind of mention something. But Feng Shui and vision boards really support all aspects of your life, right? So like Feng Shui, you can create a beautifully designed home. You can use it to find an ideal piece of property, real estate property. You can create more Zen in your life. You can attract a relationship. You can improve family relationships by shifting. And Tricia, what's your thought on that?
Oh, I agree with everything that you've said. And I think these images really reflect a broad range of what you can do when you're putting together a board. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, it becomes really powerful. It's kind of like the world is your oyster, wouldn't you say?
Yes. And that's why I talk about the clarity. You get clear about what you want, what you don't want, what you deserve. That's a big piece of it. And then there's confidence. And then there's courage. It takes courage to ask for what you want in life. And I think sometimes this practice is that first step for a lot of people to claim things that they may not have considered. So I've got, they're 26 now, it's 26-year-old twins. And when they were young, we had au pairs for 3 years when they were up to 3.5 years old. And I remember our first au pair was from England, and she was a delight. They all were. But I remember when Tony went back home, and I said, well, I'm curious, what have your family and friends said about you? What's different about you after a year living with us and living in America? And she said, they all say that I'm much more demanding, and that's a good thing. Yeah, she learned to ask for what she wants, and perhaps in her culture that wasn't usually done or encouraged. But I think a vision board can help you to become, in the best way possible, more demanding.
I love that. Yeah, because you're really stating what's important, right?
That's right.
And you're owning it.
Yeah.
I love it. Great. So let's before we get any further, let's get into how this all works. And I'm excited. I'm going to turn this part over to Tricia, because she is a pro, and I'll kick in a little bit here and there. This was actually the background of a vision board that I started.
Of 2 boards, right?
2 boards, yep, that I started a while ago. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. And it's a process of when things happen and how they happen, right?
Yes, yes. And usually when I do this vision board, if you can go back to the slide before that, when I do these vision board programs, I have another program called Crave Your Goals. And Crave is an acronym for 5 strategies that help you stay more positive and focused. So it's clean out the clutter, physical, emotional, technical clutter, that's the C. R is for raise your energy. A is for affirm success, how to use positive self-talk or affirmations. V is for visualize, and E is for express thanks. I think as we get to the end, you'll have a chance just to request my Crave Your Goals ebook, so you'll see that there. But I usually talk about the Crave formula because obviously V is for visualize, but the other 4 strategies are also so important as you move towards positively demanding what you want in life. those other strategies are going to help you get there much more faster. So I wanted to mention that as part of what your mindset will be when you're creating that vision board.
Love it. Love it. And I think it changes. I mean, I created this a long time ago. Some of this stuff has happened and some of it hasn't, and some of it is not even relevant anymore. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. It's kind of like reading a diary, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow, really, wow. That was where my mind was at 5-10 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the first step is to ask yourself, what do I want to do? What do I want to have? What do I want to be? And just as important, how do I want to feel? I find a lot of times clients will say, you know, I'm glad you're helping me with my goals, but, you know, sheepishly they'll say, I'm not quite sure what my goals are. And I usually say to them, well, let's start with how you want to feel, because it's kind of like starting with the end in mind. You know, do you want to feel peaceful? Do you want to feel engaged? Do you want to feel energized? Do you want to feel proud? What is that main feeling that maybe is lacking right now that you would like to have? And once that's identified, then the rest is a lot easier, because you go, if I want to feel energized, you know, then I want to have or do or be this. And so if you start there, and you can work your way back, and that's when you can get clear on what you want to put on your vision board. So I would always start with that, even before you start searching for images and words and phrases in magazines or online. Always start there and take time with it. You know, you don't have to, this is one of those things that you know, hopefully you will not rush it. So you might want to just start journaling, and it might be a couple of days of adding things to that list, and then maybe even crossing things out. No, you know what? I put that on there because I thought I should be or do or have that, or somebody else said that was a good idea. So that's part of the process too, is getting clear about what's important to you, what are your dreams, and not necessarily someone else's. Can you relate to that, Jen?
I can absolutely. And I just love this, because it's like when in my Harmony Blueprint program, the first thing we do is start with your intentions.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what do you intend to experience in your home, in your life, within yourself, within your own personal energy? And that is because it's like, before you go designing a house, or before you want, if you're working on your own personal energy, what is it you want, rather than, you know, just trying to move things around. It's like, well, what do we want to create here? So it's the same thing. And I love that.
And do you find with your clients sometimes when you ask about intentions that that's almost like a new concept for them, that they really hadn't given themselves permission to set intentions?
I think so. And I think people are so busy that it's like they're running, you know what I mean? And so they're just kind of doing. I mean, and I have to stop sometimes and get very intentional.
Yeah.
But
It's
I
just
love that
human
idea,
nature.
giving yourself permission to be intentional. I love that.
Yeah. Okay, good. So that's the first step. And there's going to be a slide after we go through the 5 steps. There's going to be a slide that will have all 5 steps on it. And I think it's a good idea to take a picture of it so you have that as a reference.
Got it.
So the next step is to gather those images, words, and phrases that reflect what you want to manifest. I encourage you to, you know, a lot of times people don't have magazines these days anymore, but, you know, you go to a bookstore and you start, you know, picking out some magazines, maybe some that you used to read. A few I recommend that you would never read for any other reason, because you never know what images or words or phrases will be in those magazines that will spark something that's not typically, you know, the direction that you would go in. So I encourage you to do that. So it could be magazines. You know, we're talking about 2 ways to do a vision board. One is the old-fashioned way, you know, with the scissors and the glue and cutting out the words and phrases and the images. Another is to do it digitally. So I once a quarter, my pro bono commitment, I've done this for, I guess it's about 3 years now, is I facilitate a vision board workshop for an organization in town in Atlanta called Wellspring Living. And they are dedicated to helping those who are recovering from sex trafficking. And so they have something called a Women's Academy. And once a quarter, they do a 10-week program. And most of the sessions are on things like interview skills and life skills. And so I'm week 3, and we do a vision board workshop. So when I first started doing it, we would do it in person. So for the last year, we've been doing it online and using a Google Suites app called Jamboard. So what they do is, we in advance, they think about, that question that I just posed to you, and then they start creating a digital file of images and words, and then they put it together online, and we do a show and tell at the end. So depending on what makes most sense to you, especially if you want to do this as a group project and you're not having people over to your home, think about using Jamboard to do that.
Nice. What do you think about, because the other thing too is sometimes you don't want to hang your vision board in your house, right? I mean, sometimes it works if you have an office or something, but also it's like it couldn't work. Or I mean, some people might not want to post it. What do you think about like creating like a keynote or a PowerPoint and just putting images in there? I've done that as well.
Yeah, that works too.
You can flip through it, like at the end of the day, you can just flip through it and like think about each image. Do you like that idea as well?
I do, yes. And so whether you have it a digital version or a real version, I always say take a picture of it so you have a quick reference. And so it's something that you might look at when you have some downtime, when you're out and about running errands, or to share with other people. So other people that support your success, to have that available digitally, whether it's a traditional board or an online board. Yeah, that works too.
So what is the thing about sharing it with others? That sounds, because sometimes I feel like you kind of want to do it and maybe you kind of want to keep it to yourself, or is it something that you want to share with your family and friends?
Yes and yes. So the idea is you'll know whether it's something you want to share with others. If you have relationships where people are very supportive and perhaps they're doing their own vision board and you feel like you'll get more energy from sharing it with them, then that's great. If you have people in your life, and bless their hearts, that will question the validity of creating a vision board, then that's going to take energy away from the board. So you'll know whether you want to share it or not. So some people, and we'll talk a little bit about where to place the board. I love your ideas as it relates to Feng Shui, but I often say, it could be something, some people put their board, in the kitchen for everybody to see, or the family room, or if they're doing it as a project through their work and they were working in their office, it might be the break room that they'd have their vision board, because the board would have images and words and phrases related to business goals. But you also might consider putting it, if you have a walk-in closet or a private bathroom or whatever it might be. So you'll know where it needs to go. And if it really is something that's completely private, then just taking a picture and having it on your phone might be the best that you would want to do, so that you can keep it to yourself.
Got it. Yeah, or even creating a PowerPoint of pictures, or you can glance at.
That's right.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay, cool. Are we ready to go now?
Yes. So step 3, create your vision board in a way that most resonates with you. So I get such a kick out of this when I do these workshops, because it's often like a personality test. I'll walk around to see if I can help people, and I see every conceivable way of putting together a board. Some people want to have a board that is only focused on one specific goal or they might have a professional board and a personal board. Some people only have images. Others only have words and phrases. Some people are real comfortable with that montage look, you know, overlapping clippings and stuff. Others, I wonder if when they eat, they make sure that their peas don't touch their mashed potatoes, you know, when they're having their meal, because there's like a delineation between each piece on the board, almost like a grid. And it's so interesting when I see that. And often the participants will say to me, am I doing it right? And I say, I answer with a question, which is, how does it make you feel? And they'll usually say, it makes me feel good. Then you are doing it right. Okay, good. So there are some rules that are helpful, but it's really, there's a lot of gray area there in creating the board. And the most important thing is, if it speaks to you, if it feels good, then you're doing it right. So I love the idea of, when it comes to incorporating Feng Shui principles, I love the idea of creating a vision board based on the Bagua Map. Jen, can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. Isn't that on the next slide? Don't we have that on the next slide?
It is, yeah.
All right, let's go there. So the Bagua is the Feng Shui map. And so this outlines the 9 key areas of life: career, knowledge, family, prosperity, recognition, relationships, creativity, travel, and health. And so when we're working with Feng Shui and the Bagua in our space, we would lay this down based on the, where the front door is located. We could also lay it down based on an entire property. We could lay it down on a house or on a room. And so what this becomes really powerful for when we're thinking about a vision board is you can use the Bagua to lay out your board. So let's say you have your poster board and you're trying to figure out, where do I arrange my images? You can use the Bagua to place out where those images go. And the Bagua also helps you really understand, like, how to organize your thoughts, and it also helps you identify all the key areas of your life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing, is not feeling like, oh, is there something missing? Because the Bagua represents the natural flow of life. This map is thousands of years old. It's time-tested, proven to work. And so if you lay this out and use this as a guideline, it can be extremely helpful and very powerful to, how do you align your images? Have you forgotten something in your board? You can look at the Bagua, and it just becomes, it's just a powerful way of utilizing, you know, organizing your thoughts.
I love that. Yeah.
And then, you know, I actually had a question a couple weeks ago in my Facebook group, my free Facebook group. Someone was asking, where do I place my vision board in my house within the Bagua? And I thought that was a great question. So if you think about it, there's a couple key areas. Really, there's no bad place to put it, right? And I think it depends on what's actually on your vision board. But for instance, in your prosperity corner, you know, your prosperity represents, you know, anything that you have value for, right? That you're creating, manifesting into your life, whether it's finances or your home or positive relationships or the way you feel about yourself. But oftentimes when we're thinking about manifesting things, sometimes placing your vision board in your prosperity corner can be very powerful. We could also see it as career and journey. So maybe this is the career journey down at kind of at the bottom, near the front door. The career area represents the mouth of the chi, like the mouth of opportunities. So maybe it's an opportunity to place your vision board down in your career area. It could also be knowledge and self-cultivation. I mean, this is the corner that honors who you are and your own self, personal development. So if you see your vision board as a beautiful expression of your own development, you could put it there. I have a client right now who is in my Harmony Blueprint program, and she is wanting to manifest a relationship. And so she's working just on her relationship corner, and she's creating a vision board with all the wonderful activities that she wants to experience with her new boyfriend. And so
I
she's
love
putting
that.
like fireworks, going to the beach. What did she say yesterday? We have a weekly Q&A call. She was talking about going to the beach, fireworks, sledding. I don't know. She had her little list, and she's just creating this vision board. So if you want to just attract a relationship, you could create one and just put it in your love and relationship corner. You know, and just relating it to corporate life. Let's say you want to get a promotion and that is like your biggest thing. You know, maybe it's creating a vision board that's very focused around your external recognition and how you're seen at work or within your community or within, you know, your company growing. You know, there's all kinds of wonderful ways. Of course, with family, maybe you want to spend more time with family, you could place it there. So working with or if you, a lot of people want to focus on health or exercise. So creativity or travel, you know, I mean, it's really fun if you want to go different places. So, but in terms of, I would say like, it just depends on what you're wanting to manifest. But I would look at either prosperity or career or, you know, some of these other areas, just depending on what is most important to you.
This is fascinating. So you could use the Bagua map, like you said, that would be like over the property, the home itself, or a room, right? Is that what you said? Okay, so say I wanted to put, let's see, say if I wanted to put my vision board somewhere in my home office. Where is the door on the map? Where is the door on the Bagua?
Really great question. So the door always aligns with the water wall. So the door to the house or to the property or to the room is going to be aligned somewhere with knowledge, career, or travel.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. And then from there, so if I imagine that that's where my door is, then I can see where the corners are and the walls are, and then the middle, like the middle health is where my, I guess my desk would be. So then from there, I would determine what treasure, I like the term treasure, Bagua, right? Is that the right term? What treasure do I want to focus on and honor with my vision board, if my vision board was focused on a particular treasure? So then I would put it there and it would create even more power for me.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Yeah. So it's like it could go in your prosperity corner, or it's also very powerful if maybe, you know, like in Feng Shui, we always want to face the door. So maybe it's putting on the wall in front of you too.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that would make sense. Very good. Anything else around the Bagua?
Oh, it's a lifetime study.
What a loaded question, huh?
It's a loaded question. In my Harmony Blueprint, we have there's 5 videos that talk about the Bagua. So we'll leave it at that. If anybody has questions, please post them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them as well.
Yeah, and you might want to take a picture of this slide because that'll be a good reference.
Yeah.
I would like to say one more thing around the you know, the different ways to put a board together. So one of the programs I did was for women executives at EY, Ernst & Young. And there was one senior executive there. When she came into the workshop, she was a little sheepish about creating her board because she had some pretty big dreams, including this one image that she probably clipped out of a luxury magazine that was an aerial shot of a large home on an island with an airstrip and an airplane. And she's like, you know, I just imagine that one day I will have this, but, you know, I'm a little embarrassed to put it on a board. So I encouraged her to do it. And I said, if for nothing else, that you will encourage the others around you to dream big as well. And so she got that and she added that to the board. And at the end, when we were doing our show and tell part of it, she got up to talk about her board, which was cool because she was showing everybody now that picture along with the other pictures. But she did something that surprised me. When she finished talking about some of the things that she would like to achieve and to be and to have, she flipped over the board and she said, I expect to retire in about 10 years. And when I do, I want to start a foundation in my community to feed the hungry, to help with the homeless population. And I remember thinking, wow, I've never thought about flipping over a board and using that space kind of like a placeholder. And I thought that was cool. So that's something that I learned from one of my workshops. If you have something that's further out, but you still want to make sure that you're honoring it and you're remembering it, and you're using the traditional, poster board to create your vision board, consider using the other side for that next chapter in your life. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
I love that idea. What happens if you have multiple boards?
Well, that gets back to, making sure that that doesn't distract you or confuse you. Some people will assume that they need a different board for personal, professional, or specific goals and all that. But you got to say, is that just too much? Is that just too difficult to keep track of? And so if it isn't, then great. But if it is, consider combining it, so you'll have a little bit more of a focused, because you don't want to get distracted, by, okay, what board am I looking at today? That kind of thing. So again, it really has to do with, how does it resonate with you? How does it feel?
Got it.
Do you know people that use multiple boards?
Me.
Oh, okay. Does it work for you?
I have like the dream home. I've got, like personal. I think I started clipping out pictures about what I wanted in like my dream home, right? And then I have like activities and stuff. So it all kind of, I have a lot of ideas, Tricia.
I know you do. That's what makes you so much fun.
Oh, yeah. Keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
All right,
anything in the chat box yet? I'm wondering.
Nothing in the chat box. Anybody feel free to post in the chat box. We'd love to answer your questions.
Even just post hi, so we know we're getting that.
Yeah.
Okay, so go on to the next step, which is step 4. So place it where you'll see it every day and interact with it. So we talked a little bit about, where you might want to place your board, based on that you'll see it every day, that it's in a good space regarding your Bagua treasures, whether it's a board that you want others to see or you want to keep it private. So we've talked about that a little bit. So let me talk about this interaction piece of it. So we all get busy, we might create a really cool board and all of a sudden it's kind of, collecting dust in the corner of our room or whatever. It's important for you to see this board as a partner in your success. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to take time every day to spend a little time with that board. And we're not talking about a half hour hanging out with your board. I'm talking about like 1 minute. 1 minute. Maybe you put a little timer on, or you just know the beginning of the day, you're going to take 1 minute. And what I encourage you to do is to ask this simple question, which is, what is one thing I can do to bring me closer to this reality? I'll say that again. What is one thing I can do to bring me closer to this reality? And I promise you, you will either have an immediate insight of, some information to look up, somebody to call, something to do, whatever it might be, or sometime during that day, it will come to you. I promise you. So just ask that simple question of whether it's your subconscious mind, the universe, whatever it is, just ask that. I encourage you to ask it out loud and just see what comes of it. So you're scanning the board and then you're saying, what's one thing I can do to bring me closer to this reality? How do you feel about that question, Jen?
I love it. I wrote it down.
You see how it's important to interact so that it's a partnership? Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I like that word, partnership. I've never thought of a vision board as like a partner. Do you think it's because you're kind of working, when you say partner, it's like you're partnering up with the universe or your inner being or whatever it is that you want, that you associate that energy with, correct?
Yes, exactly.
And they always say that's your true best friend, right?
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I've never thought of it. It's okay. I think that's super powerful. I'd love to know if anybody has thoughts on that, like really thinking about your board as a partner. I mean, that's powerful when you think about it just like that. Because I think when I think about creating a vision board, it's kind of like, oh, I get it done, and then it's kind of like it's a thing. But when you think
Inanimate object instead of something with energy that is conspiring for your highest good.
Does everybody hear that? Ooh. I'm writing that one down. I have my own notes right here. I hope everybody's taking it. That is, wait, say that, conspiring for your what?
Highest good.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an energy that's conspiring for your highest good. You know, it's interesting when you think about something in those terms, it can become that. You know, if you think of something that it's an inanimate object, that is just a tool that might work, might not work, you know, it's kind of like what you believe comes, a lot of times comes true. So what do you want to believe about this board? Yeah.
I think that might be the most important part of this whole thing.
Okay. Good.
I think that is something maybe I needed to hear. I don't know. I'd love to know, anybody in the chat can write. I think we create these boards and then they get put in a drawer or in a closet, or, you know, but I think that's the missing piece, is when we're interacting with it and we're asking these questions and we're looking at it and we're seeing it as a partner. I think that's been the missing thing. I think that's really powerful. I would love to know if anybody else feels like that as well.
Yeah.
I think that because when you're it's one thing when you're clipping out the pictures, it's another thing when you're like really taking it in and asking or participating with the board.
And respecting the power of the board. And respecting, you know, early in this discussion, we talked about, you know, demanding things of life because you deserve it, you desire it, you deserve it. And so to be respectful of your highest self that is asking for this, that is ordering this. Yeah, you've got to be respectful of that. It's not a passive thing. It doesn't have to be a passive thing. That's up to you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we all have created vision boards. I would say that vision boards, I mean, I bet everybody on this call has heard of a vision board, right? But I would say, at least in my experience, and I would love to know anybody in the chat, how many people have actually created vision boards and they've just kind of sat on the side. I mean, I can raise my hand and say I have done that. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? But yeah, like that interaction and seeing it as a partner, I think that's the game changer.
Yeah, early in my career, before I started my speaking business, I wrote my book, Working with Wisdom, and I used a vision board specifically for the book because I knew it would take a lot of time and energy, and I wanted to really focus that on the book. And so I had a mock-up of my book cover. I had a mock-up of my bookmark at the time. I had words on that board like bestseller. I even included notes from clients and friends, notes of encouragement that people had mailed me as I was going through this journey. And so that ended up on the board too. Yeah, it's all up to you how much energy you want to put into it and how much belief you want to put into it. Because I think human nature is, you know, if I don't ask for much, I won't be disappointed. I talk about the power of affirmations, and I remember one of the first workshops I did was a public workshop, I think before I was doing programs for companies, and this one man said, I don't like affirmations. And I said, well, can you tell me more? And he said, I feel like if I used an affirmation, it would jinx me. I would jinx myself. You know, and I thought, oh, interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. So for him, his reality was if he affirms something and it doesn't come true, then he'll be disappointed. Or maybe he asked for too much. I think the same could happen with a vision board too, that people are like, no, I don't want to either do a vision board or I don't want to put on there what I really, really, really want, because if it doesn't come true, I'll be really disappointed. And so I encourage you to be courageous about that board. Everything may not come through, but if you shoot high enough, it'll be interesting to see what does.
It's, yeah, and I think it's right. Yeah, you just never know. And then it's also that timing of when things happen. Like, I mean, if anybody's read The Secret, I'm sure you've heard this story about John. I'm trying to think of his last. It starts with an A. He's an
Asaroff?
Yes, that's it. And he put a picture of a house on his board, and years later, he had moved into a new house, and his son brought up this box and was like, "What's in the box?" And he's like, "Oh, those are my vision boards." They pull out the vision board, and it's the picture of the house that he just purchased.
The exact house. Woo! Wow. Every time I hear that story, I get goosebumps. I know. That's how it happens. And he had packed that board away. Can you imagine if he had that board out and was playing with it every day? How quickly that house would have manifested? Yeah.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Move on to the next one.
Yeah. And so the fifth step is to journal your intentions for the board, your insights, those ahas, and also your accomplishments. And the reason why I say this is because, again, we get busy, we get distracted, other things come up, fires to put out, all of that, and we might lose that connection with the board, or even be aware when things start to happen that the board was there to support us. So just a simple journal, just a notebook that you just, when it feels right, a couple of times a week, just, start with the intentions. That's always good. And then, insights. From my board, I was more aware of this opportunity or this resource that came along. And then, of course, your accomplishments, getting that, that new car, or that promotion, or that better relationship, or whatever it might be. Just keep track of it, because the more you do that, the more you'll be aware of that partner, and the more that you will continue to work with it. I encourage you to see this as an organic tool that needs to be added to and pruned along the way. I think that's important too. Some people say that, as soon as they accomplish something, they take that off their board, which is fine if that feels right for them. I like to keep those things on there because it's just a reminder to me of what I have accomplished. And so think about that. There'll be some times, like you were saying when you were looking at some of your boards, or the boards that we showed in that title image, that those goals are no longer important to you. So it's important to prune that off of the board, so that it doesn't take any energy away from where you're going.
Super powerful. So do you think it's like starting a journal like that accompanies your vision board, like that's just for writing your intentions and insights?
I think so. I think that would be the most reverent way to do it, and the most effective way. Just an exclusive journal for that.
Super powerful.
Yeah. So let's go over the 5 steps and see if anybody has any questions. And I was thinking about when you mentioned your free Facebook page, I hope you'll continue the conversation there, if at all possible. Maybe take some of the things that we talked about, make even like little excerpt quotes, like memes, and see if people want to comment on that concept, like the idea of the universe conspiring, or the vision board conspiring for our highest good. I think that could prompt some interesting conversations on your Facebook page.
That's a great idea. Yep. So I definitely do that.
Yeah. So the 5 steps, and this is where I thought when we go through the 5, you'll have it all in one screen for you to take a picture of it. So first, ask yourself what I want to do, have, and be, and how do I want to feel? Because often feelings are the place to start in order to determine what your goals are. Then the next step is to clip the images, words, and phrases from magazines and online that reflect that. Then the third step is to create a board in a way that most resonates with you, and continue to prune and add to it. Like I talked about, it's an organic process, so you want to do that. Number 4 is place it where you'll see it every day and ask this question: what's one thing I can do today to bring me closer to this reality? And then 5 is to journal your intentions, insights, and accomplishments. Yeah.
Super powerful. Yeah, we're just encouraging everyone to get your phone out and take a picture of this slide. Yeah, because this is it. This is powerful. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, as I mentioned, I do vision board workshops for organizations. I've been doing them online right now, but I also do them on site. And so if you're interested in that, there's my contact information. If you'd like a copy of my Crave Your Goals ebook, just let me know. Just put Crave in the subject line and I'll send that over to you. I also have a newsletter and a blog. So that just came out today. And so I don't know, Jen, if you've seen today's newsletter, but it's about growing through loss, talking about what's going on with the pandemic and how we can see this as an opportunity for increasing creativity and reinvention. It was based on an article from Time magazine that really touched me. So I did a little blog / newsletter on it and then linked to the Time article, which I thought was really well done. And so I have a Calendly. So if you take your phone and just put your camera to that QR code, it'll take you to my Calendly calendar if you'd like to schedule a 15-minute introductory call.
Yep. And I just want to say, Tricia has been doing, you know, coaching and leadership and vision boards for many years. I've known her for 20 years, and she's the best that I know. So if you need a coach, or whether, and again, let's clarify this, whether you are, because you do a lot of corporate work, Atlanta has a lot of corporations, but even if you need individual work, you know what I mean? If you are looking for a coach to work with you individually, Tricia, you work on an individual basis as well, correct?
Yeah, most of my coaching clients are remote right now, and most of them come from either hearing me speak or reading my book and saying, you know, I like these concepts, but I need some help in applying them to my own life, and that's what I do. It's a very specific kind of coaching that I do.
Super powerful. Well, great. Well, everybody make sure that you grab Tricia's information, and I love the QR code thing. That's really great.
Yeah, it's just something new I'm doing, try to make it easy for me to connect.
I love that. I love that. So if they press the QR code, if they put their phone up with their camera, that'll take them right to your.
It does. Yeah, you don't have to take a picture of it. You just put your camera on it, and it shows. You click on something, and it goes right to the calendar.
Sweet. I love that.
Pretty amazing, huh?
Technology is great. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I would encourage everybody to reach out to Tricia and get a call with her and get on the newsletter. I just wanted to mention, for anybody that's still on the call, if you're interested in learning a little bit about Feng Shui for your home, I have a special offer for you guys as well. You know, and if you're interested, I mean, creating a vision board is super powerful, and we talked about that. But if you're interested in learning about how to really optimize the energy in your home, maybe you want to feel more peace or satisfaction, or you want to create more productivity and opportunities and success with your home, or you might even be moving into building or renovating a home and you want to create a plan, or want to create, enhance your prosperity and relationships and well-being, or maybe you're going through some change and you want to really talk to me about your home, I would like to offer you a free 45-minute virtual Feng Shui discovery session. And we can do this either video call or phone call. And this is where it's kind of like a mini consultation where we start to really kind of diagnose your situation and start to map out kind of how to remove those energy blocks. And this is also an opportunity to see if we can work together. I can share a little bit about my Harmony Blueprint Feng Shui program. And it's a really valuable time to really start thinking about how to see your space differently. And if I can help you, and again, I've set aside some time over the next 5 days to do these Feng Shui discovery sessions. So if you are interested, go to elementsofharmony.com/apply. You can't click from the screen, but if you just write that down, elementsofharmony.com/apply, and just go there, just like you can find a spot in my calendar, and I will call you at that time, and we can chat about your space and start to really help you make some changes. So it's super fun.
Well, this has been super fun. Such a
Really
treat.
fun.
I'm so glad we were able to do this.
Yes, yes, we'll have to do this again.